Welcome to Nightworks, Art Explorations. Tonight is graphite watercolor. The title is Monkeying Around, which will be apparent. It's just me showing you the eraser here. I don't know why. It's one of those little 2-in-1 eraser pencil sharpeners. Kind of handy. Sort of a broad tip. So here I'm just using a 2B. And I am using Canson XL watercolor paper. I think last time I said mixed media, but this is a watercolor paper pad. Canson XL is their cheaper brand, I think, or student grade, or I don't know. I use it a lot. It's a good quality. Last time I just did a little impromptu devil head. This time I'm working on a monkey. So there's a video game out about Wukong Monkey King. I can't remember what it's called. Black Lotus or Black something. I just felt like drawing a Monkey King today. Except I was giving him more of a like kind of a European kingly vibe, like King Henry VIII or something. So I'm working on giving the Monkey King his, what do they call it, a scepter, royal scepter, and his little crown, little monkey crown. And little, I don't know, bananas. What would be on a monkey's crown? I think bananas. Monkeys like bananas. His big floppy sleeves of some sort. I don't know what kings actually wear. Imagine they sort of walked around wearing jewelry and in their underwear because they didn't have to go anywhere. I don't know. I don't know what kings wear. But I figured the movies, they usually had like a robe or something, royal robes and official, I don't know, what would you call that big necklace kind of jewelry thing? Official pendants. And then of course, the, royal scepter's gotta be appropriate for a monkey. I mean, yes, ideally this is, it's not a monkey per se, it's more like an ape, but I like to kind of just call everything a monkey. I think this was pretty much like a chimp, which is an ape. So here I'm working out a hand and trying to figure out how the hand shape would be if it was holding like a stem martini glass. Because, kings like martinis, right? And we all know monkeys like martinis. That's just a given. Little olives in there. One of those, maybe a dirty martini. Pretty good. And there I'm showing you the little, I think it's a Tombow, very thin eraser. Those are really handy to have. If you don't have one, pick one up. They make erasing tight areas easy. Some people like to just take maybe the back of a mechanical pencil eraser. Sometimes people will sharpen those with a razor blade to make the eraser have a tip, and that's also handy. I have I don't know, a sack full of different types of erasers. Use that little one a lot. Here I am just dumping a bunch of generic, well, they're not generic, but a bunch of student grade, academy grade watercolors out there. I was actually picking through some, but it was kind of just showing you guys I'm just using, I think they're like Grumbacher and Winsor Newton Cotman, I think is what the student grade is called, or academy grade. It's just like the cheaper stuff. It doesn't have the pigment density of the professional grade, but that's fine, especially for this. I mean, I'm just doing a monkey on some cheap watercolor paper. So I'm starting off by laying in some warm tones and some earth tones, kind of like warmish background. I feel like the foreground may be cooler in temperature, so I want to kind of separate them color-wise. Just trying some stuff, experimenting. And then I'm just putting water out on the robe area. It helps sort of soften the spread, soften the brush strokes when you're putting stuff in. Makes it a little smoother. If you pre-soak the watercolor papers, it'll make it nice and even looking rather than leaving like all the brushwork. Sometimes the brushwork is a nice textural aspect, but sometimes you want it to be smoother. And dampening or pre-wetting the paper helps eliminate some of that brushiness. And so here I'm just putting in the royal purple, as kings are wont to wear. And I think one thing to remember when you're doing like watercolors, and you can see me over there kind of mixing on the side, don't use too much water to start until you get a sense on how the paint and the water moves around. But I usually try and keep it kind of minimal. I know a lot of professional watercolorists use a lot more water than I do, but I'm just kind of halfway there. It's just easier to control the color if it's not quite as splooshy as a big puddle of water splashing around on the page. And if you're curious, I put on classical music because I figured that's what a Monkey King would listen to with his martini. Y'all let me know if it's helpful to see that messy palette I have on the side there when I'm mixing. You can't really see the full thing, but I guess I could consciously try and mix more in the camera frame. Is that helpful for you guys? I don't know. I can try different setups and see what works best. You'll notice my little plastic watercolor palette is kind of like a battlefield of color. I'm kind of a haphazard wizard at best. I usually get a lot of mess all over the place. That's just how I work. Here I'm applying shadows with some browns. I think the chimp skin is kind of pretty pink, actually. Just going for some warm-ish shadows, although I think I used some sepia in there too, which is not really warm, but it's an earth tone. And notice as this goes on how the watercolors like dry kind of lighter, so I have to usually go back a couple of passes. That's just how I have to do it. I mean, I suppose with practice I could master this splooshy art form better. Yeah, you see there, sometimes when the watercolor spreads into areas you don't want, you can quickly lift it out. I think I just used my finger to push it out of the way, but it's good to have some watercolor, some nice absorbent paper towels around to absorb the watercolor. Just keep that handy so you can dab stuff out quickly. When you're working with these watercolors, always light to dark and try and leave any areas you need to be light. Leave them alone. Leave them alone as much as possible. You can't, at least with watercolors, you can't go in and fix things. If you're mixed media kind of person, you know, you can go back in with inks and acrylic paint. And you put it, hell, you can scan it, put it in digitally and fix it. But if you're just doing pencil watercolor, just, you know, try and keep your highlights in mind and push your shadows. And you can always make things darker, but you can't go backwards. So just keep that in mind. Here I'm using some designer white gouache, or some white designer gouache. I can't remember which way it is. It's gouache and it's white. It's opaque, and you can put it on, sort of gives you a glazing frostiness to the piece. It doesn't really, I don't know, doesn't make things super white like ink would, but it kind of lightens some things a little bit. And then, of course, I had to ink it with some cheap pens I got off of eBay. I don't know if inking makes it better. I just enjoy the inking process. I mean, sometimes when you leave the watercolor alone, the softness lends itself to a realism kind of thing, but I don't know. I just like inking stuff. It's fun. These cheap pens, I think they're Chinese on eBay. They seem okay. I don't know. But the weird thing I noticed is the different sizes kind of all felt sort of like the same size. I know they make a banana daiquiri, but do they make banana martinis? I don't know. I'd have to investigate that. So there you go. I drew a Monkey King. He's all regal and fancy and royal. Drinking that kind of want a martini now, so it's too late. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the process of pencil watercolor ink. Next time I'll be doing probably more monsters. I don't know. We'll see. Bye.